Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're still talking here week 11 around the NFL. We're doing our part 2 of our recap. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, go check that out from Monday's episode where we talked Eagles, Browns, Falcons, Saints, Bengals, Washington, Lions, Panthers, Steelers, Jacksonville, and Titans, Ravens. So if you want to hear about one of those games, go check out Monday's episode. Today we're going to start here with Patriots, Texans. Patriots lose. They lose this one 27-20 to the Texans. Patriots playoff chances probably going away with that one, I would think. They're just not that good, I'd say. But Cam Newton, he did throw for 365 yards in this one, which was more than he's done recently, threw a touchdown. But there was nothing on the ground from him. That's kind of what we thought early on in the year. If he did anything, it was because of a ground game and stuff. That wasn't here today. So not much from Cam in that regard. Damian Harris got himself 11 carries. He is the lead back there in 43 yards. Got a nice touchdown run. So he looked good. I was watching that earlier. He looked good in that drive where he this is going to be a big game. I was going against you this week with Damian Harris, and I'm sitting there early like, oh, crap, I'm going to lose to the worst team in the league, Jeff. And it
did not work out.
No, and that's all he did there. He didn't do anything after that. That was about it for Damian Harris. But I thought he looked good in the chances he got. Just wasn't much there.
Yeah, I think he's looked good all year. I'm excited to see what he does, especially next year. But I think he's a solid play no matter what. I really do. Yeah. I mean, he just came off was it last week? He had 120 yards rushing, whatever it may be. They're usually not a very prolific throwing team with Cam this year. Bird actually, wide receiver, had a big game. That was probably the first big game out of a wide receiver I remember from this team in a while. 132 yards and a touchdown. I don't expect that more. I would assume that Damian Harris will get more than 11 carries. Even with that, he averaged about 4 carries, 4 yards per carry, and got in the end zone. So there's not a whole lot to hate about what he was able to accomplish today.
Be honest, this team doesn't have a lot of talent, it feels like. I'm looking at these wide receivers.
Is really the only person I like on the team.
Because I'm looking, Demir Bird led the team in receiving this week, 6 for 132. James White caught 6 balls. N'Keal Harry, that's a waste. It's a bust of a first-round pick, 5 for 41. Jacoby Myers, we thought maybe was coming on, but 3 for 38. And there's a Dante Moncrief sighting. Whoa. Where'd that come from? Jeez.
I have no idea.
Dante Moncrief.
On that team.
Looks like he just got promoted from the practice squad just this weekend. So, wow, that's a name I haven't seen in a bit. But, not the greatest here. For the Texans, Deshaun Watson threw for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran a touchdown in. So, a really good fantasy day for Deshaun Watson there. Duke Johnson, if you were starting to play Duke Johnson, thinking that was the play to, with David Johnson out, that has not worked out for you. And don't do that again. Just don't play him.
That's painful to watch. Deshaun really did everything. I mean, he's the leading rusher, the leading passer. Duke Johnson caught 3 for 20 yards. There was nothing redeemable about it. I mean, 10 carries for 15 yards. It wasn't getting it done. And they were passing. Pass happy, really.
Yeah, the ball was spread around quite a bit there. Will Fuller led the team 6 for 80 with receptions, 80 yards. Brandon Cooks led with yards with 85. But the touchdowns went to Kiki Cutie, another name I haven't heard in a bit. He got one, and Randall Cobb got the other. So it was kind of thrown around. The only one that really did much for you was Deshaun in this one. How about the next one, Broncos Dolphins? So just when we thought the Dolphins were looking pretty good there, Broncos beat them. I did not expect this, to be honest. I would have never guessed this would be the outcome in this game at all. And let's see here. Oh, I lost my box score. Broncos, Drew Lock didn't throw himself for any touchdowns, too. So you'd expect Broncos finally get a win, and maybe Lock came out and played well. And he only threw for 270, got a pick. Tim Patrick did lead the way there, 5 of 119. Again, not necessarily what I was expecting. Jerry Jeudy didn't get much going. I was expecting kind of more of a KJ Hamler would start, doing a little more, and there was only 4 for 35. I don't really trust much on this team for fantasy because Melvin Gordon, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. A great day. but I don't. This kind of came out of nowhere for me, to be honest. I think I didn't really believe in him. He's been at 3 games where he's not done anything. And then he comes against a pretty good Miami defense, I would say, right? Miami's a pretty solid defense.
Yeah,
and
very.
He goes and does this, and I'm like, shoot, man. I mean, I don't know what to think about Melvin Gordon now. He's a little better than I expected. I guess he's still in the same spot where you probably, if you have him on your team, he's just probably in the lineup. And you don't love it, but he's probably in the lineup no matter what. New Orleans next week against them could be a test as well. But I think you just put him in there and hope for the best.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, he is going to be the goal line back. One of them was not a goal line carry, right? He scored from 25 out or so. But Phillip Lindsay matched him in the amount of carries, matched him in the amount of yards. So I don't think that Melvin Gordon is that much better than him. And also, when you look at it, Drew Lock didn't have to do a whole lot, right? No. I mean, I think they knew that in this game, Miami wasn't going to put up a lot of points. So if they control the ball, if they run a lot more, which obviously was easy because they rushed over 30 times, they were going to do okay. On the other side, it kind of proved to be that, right? I mean, you obviously got Tua and you got a little bit of Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
so you got a little bit of both.
Tua got pulled there in this one for not really playing well, I guess. They did already say he will be the starter next week.
Which is strange, though, because if you look at his numbers, it's not the worst thing in the world. He didn't throw interceptions or anything. He was 11 for 20 for 83 yards and a touchdown. He gets pulled, and then Fitzy comes in and 12 for 18 for 117 yards and an interception. He definitely did not show him up.
No.
So I'm not sure why they did that.
I don't know if that was a good move. I mean,
I don't either.
I
was even going to ask. I was like, was there like an injury as well on top of that or something?
It was still a close enough game going in a fourth quarter. I feel like that's a spot. Let's see the rookie, see what he can do. Can he lead us back? I think I'm honestly surprised at the move. I think you give Tua the chance. This wasn't a blowout. So that's why I don't understand. It wasn't a blowout. So I honestly don't get the move. I don't get it. I think you give the guy the chance to see can he lead a team back.
Yeah, I think this
is weird to me.
This is the problem with when they were winning. I mean, they had a good record, and then they went to their high draft pick quarterback.
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick is, he is what he is. He's fine. He's he can make great throws. He can make some bad ones, but when you have a winning record, all of a sudden it becomes very convoluted of who do I actually trust? Were we trying to get this guy some reps? Do we actually believe in him? Like, if it truly had nothing to do with injury or anything of that nature, if it was just, hey, sit down, we're going to try to get the win with Ryan, this is only going to destroy his confidence. This is like the worst thing you can do to a rookie. I feel like as soon as you hand over the reins, you do not go the other way. Like, if he has a terrible, terrible game, which he wasn't having a terrible, terrible game in my mind. If you're throwing 4 picks, you stick with him to the point where you're like, okay, well, now it's going to be detrimental to your confidence the other way. Mm-hmm. Because you have to. I don't know what they're doing on this one. I thought it was a very bizarre one.
Yep. Devontae Parker, then he led the way with the receiving crew, 6 for 61 and touchdown. So it wasn't really much offensive wise going here for Miami.
And they didn't run the ball as well as they usually do as well. No. Salvin Ahmad, he 12 for 43. So it wasn't what Miami is used to doing. And maybe that was the reason why they pulled him. Like, they couldn't run the ball like they have been with, all year. But it was a little bit strange.
Matt Breida was back, and yet he was definitely still second in line there. So
yeah, he only had 2 carries. I mean, they're not really thinking about him.
Nope. How about Chargers beat the Jets 34-28. Chargers 3-7 now. Jets go to 0-10. So Justin Herbert had a great day. 366 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just he's been really good, and that continued today. Keenan Allen led the way there. 16 catches there. That's up to 19 targets for 145 yards and a touchdown. Just a massive day for Keenan Allen. That was good to see there. Mike Williams 4 for 72 and a touchdown. Hunter Henry 4 for 48 and a touchdown. So touchdowns went to the 3 main guys there. Kalen Ballage led the way in the ground game with 16 carries, only turned it into 44 yards. That does not surprise me. That feels like Kalen Ballage to me. right there. But they've definitely lost any trust or belief in Josh Kelly. I would say that for sure, as Belash has completely taken that over. But this passing game is really, really good right now with Justin Herbert, and I think it's going to continue. So we've looked at that. We talked about that last week with his schedule upcoming. I believe he has a good one. So he's going to keep putting up numbers.
He's been spectacular. He has. I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. I was really afraid of their wide receivers coming into this year because you have either a rookie or Tyrod. And man, Herbert has come on and he has played better in the NFL than he did in college in my mind, which is saying something. He's been wonderful.
Then for the Jets, Flacco's not really good, but he threw 2 touchdowns. One went to Perriman, one went to Herndon. Mims led the team in yards with 71 off 3 catches. Frank Gore got himself a touchdown, 15 carries, 61 yards. He's still going. It's funny seeing his son playing college ball this weekend too, and you don't see that very often. You got running back whose son is playing in college. It's just not normal. And then P. Ryan 8 for 33 and touchdown as well. But the Jets are not very good, so you're probably, if you're using Frank Gore right now, the season probably went wrong for you. Jeff, did you use Frank Gore this week or not? Did you keep him on the bench?
I didn't have to this week.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Buoy for me.
All right, how about Colts beat the Packers 34-31 in overtime. So both of these teams are 7-3. Colts are a real surprising 7-3 for me this season. Phillip Rivers is leading them to wins. 288 yards for Rivers, 3 touchdowns. Solid day. But here we go. On the ground, Jonathan Taylor. 22 carries. 98.
I'm very
glad
yards. To see it.
Yeah, but it's
I'm very glad to see it. But how much do you actually trust this?
I feel like I do now. I feel like whatever point they were getting across got across. Maybe, I just feel like this is if that's what they were going for, got the point across, right? So
we hope. I mean, everyone did. The Packers are a very good team, and Indianapolis really turned their offense has not been good. It has been really bad. I mean, the fact that Phillip Rivers had 3 touchdowns and Jonathan Taylor almost went for 100 yards rushing. I mean, they definitely turned it on. I was very impressed what they were able to do. I mean, in this game too, they were down early. I mean, yeah. So Green Bay put 21 up on them in the second quarter, and that is kind of like what I saw. And then after that is when Phillip Rivers really turned it on. It was great to see. And another guy that I do want to mention because you brought him up last time, but it was Pittman. It was a very promising rookie. How do you feel about moving forward with him? Because he had 66 yards and a touchdown. He's been getting more solid. I don't want to oversell him, but how do you feel about him?
I feel decent about him. The one thing I didn't like, I think he only had 3 targets. So he got 3 catches. It was only off 3 targets. I'd like to see more of that, but he's getting it done where I feel like he's just those targets are going to come. If you're playing well like this, you're going to get more. But they really, really spread the ball around in this one. There was, 11 guys caught the ball in this game. So that's quite a few. I do like Pittman, though. I think I don't know if I want to start him yet. That's the problem. With 3 targets, I worry about 3 targets. But he's right on that verge of being a starter for me, of like a wide receiver 3. I think he can get there and have that chance. So Packers, they jumped out to that lead and then couldn't hold it and then lose it in overtime there. Rodgers 311, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones only had 10 carries, but 41 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams 7 for 106 and a touchdown. Tanyan got a touchdown. Valdez-Scantling 3 for 55, but he fumbled the ball away there. That led to the Colts getting the win. El Nazar did come back in this one, but only 2 for 18.
Yeah.
But
good to see him play, and then MVS screwing up leads gives him a path back to where he was. So I think overall it was good. It was exactly what you expected out of Green Bay, even though they didn't get the win.
How about Cowboys, Vikings? Cowboys get a victory here to go to 3-7, 31-28 win. They're still in the playoff hunt in the NFC East, as bad as that is. But this is okay. This is more of the Andy Dalton. This is what we thought he could be when we first talked about him taking over for Dak, where he's not great, but he's good enough. And he got 203 yards with 3 touchdowns. So this is where I think he can be. Amari Cooper got 6 of 81. CeeDee Lamb only 4 for 34, but caught a touchdown. Dalton Dalton Schultz caught a touchdown. Zeke caught a touchdown. And Zeke ran the ball 21 times for 103. So finally got something out of Zeke.
It's amazing how easy the offense can play off of Zeke when you actually give him the ball.
Right?
It's mind-blowing to me that he wasn't getting 20 carries every game. I'm glad that he got it this time around. I'm kind of – this one actually is shocking to me. I really thought Minnesota was going to walk away with this one, especially if you told me that Kirk Cousins threw for 3 touchdowns and Delvin Cook still had 100 yards rushing. I mean, everyone had a good game on here.
Well,
Dallas just pulled it out. They put up a lot of points.
Maybe McCarthy's learning a little bit there, so we'll see. We'll see.
I hope so. I mean, Delvin, once again, had a great game. 27 carries. I mean, he was able to – I mean, this was a huge offensive production by both teams. But very rarely have we seen this, right? If Delvin Cook has a good game, it usually means that the passing game wasn't on point. That was not the case either, though, because Adam Thielen went off. He had 8 catches for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had a nice game, even though it was only 3 catches, but for 86 yards and a touchdown. And then Delvin Cook had another 45 yards receiving as well. I mean, he was all over the place. So everyone did really well. I'm just shocked that it kind of went this way.
Yep. So the Vikings said Cousins threw those 3 touchdowns. 2 of them went to Thielen, 1 to Jefferson. Those guys are good. And Cook had over 115 yards of touchdowns. So they were really solid too. They just couldn't get it done.
Are you feeling okay about any of the wide receivers on Dallas? Because they definitely took a hit the last few weeks. Yeah. Amari Cooper did have 81 yards, CeeDee Lamb 34, but he did have the touchdown. Gallup, 29 yards. I think everyone is kind of off on him now.
I think I feel better about Cooper now after seeing this and with Dalton actually out there. I wasn't feeling good about him at all, but Cooper is finally, he'll be back more of in the 20s range for wide receivers, but playable. And we'll see, maybe that gets a little better. But Dalton, this is more what I think we should see from Dalton, and Cooper will benefit from that. CeeDee Lamb probably still be up and down, and Gallup just hasn't done much. I don't really trust Gallup at all. So that guy could still be on the waivers, and I'm good with that. So, all right, how about one last game we'll talk about here? We'll talk about Thursday night game. We didn't get a chance to talk about this before. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 28-21 here. Russell Wilson threw only 197 yards, so not as much there, but 2 touchdowns. Carlos Hyde, 14 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett getting more of the catches this one, 9 for 67, a touchdown. Metcalf, 3 for 46, got himself a touchdown at least. So he saved your day there. But, the explosiveness of this offense hasn't been there really, maybe the last couple of weeks as much as it was. Still, they're still really good, but it's not quite that Russell Wilson MVP fantasy star thing is going away a little bit, right? It's not quite there, but still good enough, obviously. How about the Cardinals then? Murray, same thing. Murray wasn't as good this one, but still, if this is what you get on the worst case, you're fine. 269, 2 touchdowns. It was only 15 yards on the ground, and that's where the numbers didn't get boosted.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a big difference today. Yep. 5 for 15, you're not going to have that otherworldly output that he's been putting up lately.
Yeah. Then on the ground, so Kenyon Drake had 11 carries for only 29 yards, but a touchdown. Edmonds only had 2 carries, turned into 13. He did catch 4 for 36 and a touchdown. But on the ground, Drake is clearly the main guy they're going to get there. But Edmonds is still obviously going to get something in the receiving game, but so did Drake. But Drake, I think, really is the clear-cut RB1 on that team. It's pretty clear to me. So Edmonds, if you put him in your lineup, that's pretty risky to do at this point. Not much from the receivers either in this one, but
yeah, I'm not really a big fan of either one to be honest.
Right?
Even though Drake is number 1, which I agree with you, I don't think it is a large role. I mean, he's kind of lucky he got into the end zone today. Chase Edmonds, I almost feel like has a better opportunity to get in the end zone because he catches more passes usually. Today they caught the same amount, but he did get in the end zone anyway. It's a difficult one. I'm not a huge fan of anyone on this team besides obviously Hopkins and Kyler, but you would think that there'd be someone else with the amount of points they put up. But right. I think they, it's definitely resting mostly on Kyler's shoulders.
All right, that's going to do it for our Week 11 recap. We'll be back tomorrow, get you going for Week 12 as we're down to the final 2 weeks of the fantasy football regular season. It is almost there. So some of you guys are going to be put out of your misery here soon, right, Jeff? You? One of them. Yeah, so very close. So,
Yeah.
but,
I'll shift my focus to my dynasty league.
here we go. All right, that'll do it. Talk to you guys next time.